up there. Okay, whatever. I think besides them in a game like that, I'm actually gonna go with Skullface, Almond, and Noobs, just because Skullface is known to be a sniper, and I feel like where everything is allowed, that guy, if he gets a one-shot sniper in hand, is going to be really, really dangerous. Pair it up with the other two, they are going to be flying at everything, some really good shots, and they all know how to play their life, and I feel like that to me is the number one thing. If you can finesse and play your life, you get those flares in your backpack, you're able to pop those things up, they're going to be staying alive for a very long time, and we both know they have the ice to clutch up an endgame.
All right, well, let's see who's got the ice to clutch up an endgame, because it's going to be map number 1 about to be locked and loaded. I'm ready to see no bans. That means we're going to see Bird's Eye, Comms Fest. We're going to see all the goods here. And Bbreadman already saying we need to start with a good banger. Let's see it.
I like that. I like the energy, right? This is a squad. They obviously used to have Skullface on their team, but they just kind of agree, hey, this team isn't really working how we wanted to. Skull goes and joins, of course, Almond and Noobs, and they pick up 4 and Jace. And it feels like since they've been able to do that, I think this kind of unlocked the potential for this team. Jace brings a lot of the aggression and sort of that frontline gunny that you're looking for in a squad like this. Bbreadman, he's going to be the anchor, right? You're always going to be seeing Brad hang out in the back. Joe, a great support player, the movement king himself, able to stay alive, able to finesse his life to the best of the ability, but you need that bragger to kind of run in face first into a building, right, Tiff? And I think Jace fits that profile perfectly.
There is, yeah.
I 100% agree with that, and you can see they're just going to elongate off that plane line. It probably wasn't favorable to where they want to head on over, so you're getting a nice view of cargo as they get to where they want to go. Also, shout out to Bbreadman. He launched his home clothing company. That's been going on for the past couple of months. I just saw the ad where he's getting more pre-sales here. If you ever go look at the clothes on the website, they are all named in color schemes like burnt and like different levels of toast.
I like that.
And it just cracks me up. I don't know.
There's got to be an actual scale of level of burnt toast. There just has to be.
It's a vibe, and I haven't ordered anything, so maybe it lacks on that for me, but I am curious of what that looks like. But we'll check in with Unrational Scum and Dongy, aka USD, which I don't know if they're going to keep calling themselves that, but when we look into World Series of Warzone, I want to see some team names start to form, so when you get to potentially land, right, we can start chanting those names.
Yeah.
Like USD. Like, I don't know.
United States dollars.
It's not stuck yet for me. It's just not there. We'll get there eventually.
This is a team, though, that has been finding a lot of success. You know, they've been playing really, really well in scrims, like I mentioned at the top of the broadcast. And I think they're kind of waiting to peak. And that's the thing I'm really looking for them. I think that they're obviously really, really talented. I think they have a couple of small things to work out as a team that will let them kind of level up and now really consistently be in the conversation of are they a top team in Urzikstan, especially when we start talking about things like the World Series of Warzone. I think everybody knows that they are, but you know, when it kind of comes down to some of these bigger, larger events, we're waiting for them to have some more consistent placing. So we'll have to wait and see. One thing I do like as I look at Scummin, he's got the thermals on both of his guns, Tiff. We know how much smokes love to come into play. Well, thermals are normally banned, but not here today, ladies and gentlemen. We're probably going to see a lot of those.
That was the one thing we missed at the top of the show that I didn't immediately jump out to me. And I was like, of course, that makes sense. Dongy grabs that knock on Rodrigo, and you can see that clamp squad immediately getting sent to the gulag. And, well, we hop on that res, and then we back away, making sure that no one is going to immediately full send this. But they know they're up on UAV, but they're getting information that there's a team just south of them. Well, now technically north on the mini map because it keeps rotating. It's over by the bounty, about 3 of them. So just keep eyes on that.
And you can even see there, Scummin looks at that loot, sees there's a flare on the ground, already has one in the backpack, and says, yep, okay, there's another one. Let me grab that one. They want as many as possible, and they find somebody out here in the open. Some good shots coming out from that DG. But it's go a little bit wide. You can see Dongy and Unrational already playing on up. Unrational does get taken out by Raul. And as Scummin tries to make his way on over, starting to get peppered up very quickly. This 3v3 becomes a 3v2. Looks like maybe this team, though, is trying to reposition, but this is a tough situation right now, Tiff. They're kind of out in the open, right? You either have to commit to this team in front of you or back on up. We saw Scummin getting tagged in when they came on over, but looks like they are just going to disengage, come back on out. Unrational loses the gulag.
The worst part about being in a customs is that you never know who you're going to shake up against in a gulag because everyone's going to be shooting crazy. And so now, but the granted is, we do have flares. Their ability to get back into the lobby is going to be much more granted now that we've pulled out and there's no bans. So obviously, we've got the reinforcement flares that you were talking about. But let's check in here with Danya. Time. And Loctive. No eliminations just yet, but we're on the very outside. They've got the bounty, and now getting PA'd. That's going to force them to kind of reposition themselves when they're so far out into the open and there's not really any buildings here. It's kind of an issue.
Yeah, this is just a literally definition rock in a hard place. You got these people to your left. You see that PA coming. Danya makes the right call. You want to back up on this wall, but you see Time gets taken out. Loctive is taken on down. She's going to have to go ahead and back up here. tfue UAV will let them know the positioning, but you're seeing the snipers already come out to play. They just have her underneath every angle, and it's going to be the French squad that takes them on out. A quick gulag trip for that trio.
Nothing like enkeo rocking the Moors and hitting for 257 in one bullet. This is going to be a day, but finally we get SSD checking in with them. Biffle already on a move here. Thermal's down through the smoke, just looking for any sorts of information. See, the best part about this is you can look to the smokes, grab a live ping, and that's going to help your teammates be able to wrap around. But you can see that team is just going to hop in a vehicle and say, nah, no wanting any bit of this. Regardless, Shifty still able to grab a knock. Looked like that was on sit rep, actually.
Bulls come back on in. One other thing about the thermals too that I think is really, really clutch is it's going to be able to give you some live pings, right? Normally, if somebody's in the smoke, it's really hard to actually get the live ping on them. So I feel like what you kind of can do now is even if you are, sitting in smoke, if you can get a live ping, this is a 3-2-1 between you and some of your teammates to be able to take them out down, especially if everybody is using thermals and are no bans here today. So wait and see if that does come into fruition. Biffle gonna just take a little bit of time to come on over here towards this bunker and try and maybe get some cash, get some kill streaks that are just on in here. Is a little bit out of zone, but thankfully we'll have this vehicle that hopefully can let them get back in and meet back on up with Shifty and Hisoka and get it started.
Very typical of their play style throughout the course of the weeks. They really excel in grabbing bunkers, getting information. You could also see with the perks, a lot of our players here are locking in Bird's Eye. This is typically banned, but it does allow our players to get extra information from the UAV, which is why it will typically be banned. But Pentagon on your screen, Melvin gonna find that knock onto Danya, whose squad had just been in a precarious situation and may have been on a regain, but for them, they just keep barreling forward onto the train. Another squad wipe the way. We're down to 30 though, so we've only lost out on 3 squads.
Now, only 3 squads deleted as we come towards the end of the second zone. This is about what we kind of can come to expect when it comes to customs, right? Players are trying to play their life. Nobody's really trying to push anything that they don't have to, but now that I think about it, Tiff, though, let's kind of look at this from the 30,000-foot view, right? Here at Call of Duty Warzone Match Point, right? You need to be able to get those eliminations, so that way you can get those points, get into the multiplier, and really take advantage of that multiplier by having some large amounts of kills. This is how we've seen SSD kind of be dominant, right? They are the team that is making their way deep into these lobbies with 20, 30 kills total. There are a lot more eliminations on the map here. So I think players are used to playing slow because they're really valuing their life, right? But you have a lot more opportunity to get back into the game in this lobby in particular just because we're running no bans. So I think teams need to get aggressive, and I hope that some of our squads have realized that, because if you haven't and you are a team like SSD or Rated Mayappo in them, you're just going to get left behind because they're just going to start flying at everything.
They really are. It's wild the pace that they're able to set and maintain even when the lobby is stacked. It doesn't matter. Oh my god, we knew this was going to happen. We knew Bbreadman was going to break it out, but what I wasn't expecting was this level of excellence, and that's on me. That's on me.
Bbreadman is living his best life right now with this Moors. Oh gosh, it's so good. You're seeing it coming there. Trick, unfortunately, getting just absolutely deleted out of nowhere. You saw him even get the crack on the other player that was in that building. As he looks towards the roof, nobody on a line there. Striker 9 with thermal in hand. he's just looking to maybe hold a different angle here. Can you get some tags up? The cool part with this Morse is, Tiff, is that you mentioned it earlier, 250 damage is possible here. You know, even if he only hits the body shot and some of his teammates just get a couple of bullets on in, it's almost a guaranteed knock.
It really is. And also Jowo just picks up a knock onto Oki. So this might be Team Echo over there across the street, which makes sense, right? They land in Zaravan City. This would be a very typical rotation for them, but this is very akin to that situation you were talking about at the top of the show. If someone's flying back in, there's a very good chance that a rogue person using a Morse is going to be able to clip you out. Now, granted, they will land in safety. Jowo grabs that knock onto Echo, so we're constantly putting that pressure onto the squad above. Now, there you go. We're getting a buy back. Do we connect? No, but it's only a matter of time before it does.
Another break coming on, and we'll let that fight continue moving on. Back on over with Careless Kitty, Angsien, and Patsuka. Looks like already one in the chamber. If you are Careless Kitty here, as they're playing down here towards the city side. Not a lot of movement though, and kind of see it looks like maybe they are waiting.
He went around the
Try and start taking some of these shots. I feel like after what we just witnessed there, Tiff, if you're not running at least one sniper on your team, I feel like you're kind of selling. Like, it's one of the few times that you're able to rock something like a one-shot sniper. I just say no matter what, you have to have one person with that thing in the back pocket.
You really do, but also if you're not going to be running it or you're on opposing squad that keeps getting pushed out by those one-shot snipers, you have to make sure that you have plenty of plates, plenty of smokes. But at the end of the day, since there are thermals, and you can see Bbreadman was rocking one on the Moors, you're gonna constantly have to make sure that you're not peeking out for too long. Because even what Careless Kitty is doing here and chilling on this rooftop, you can catch a stray bullet in the face so quickly, and then your entire reset is kind of chalked.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the good thing to bring up is that, like you said, if you're trying to be one of these players who's coming back from the gulag, you're trying just to reset at a different area, guess what? It's not going to be easy when you especially have a team with at least, you know, a Morris, if not a Cat AMR looking down at you. It's sometimes easy to pick them out of the air.
Speaking of picking things out, I don't know if Almond, aka Ben, is actually playing today, because I think the storms are wreaking a little havoc on their internet for sure, so we'll have to keep tabs. Not confirmed, but when we see that squad, we'll just make sure. That was like 20 something minutes ago, so you know, you guys in chat would know more than me, to be honest, on terms of that. But for now, Careless Kitty, Patsuka, Angsien, just looking to pick up some more eliminations, because that's the name of the game. But when we kind of get into this weird mid game, maybe zones like 4 through 5, we want to see the pressure that you can throw down on other squads and grab more eliminations. But here's Echo, Oki, Prodigy. We were really curious what this squad was looking at. We know that Bbreadman, Jowo were constantly getting knocks on this squad, but for now they're all 3 up. But this is the cost of taking a location in zone early on. Now granted, they still have to rotate out, but Echo has no plates.
Yeah, you know, this is kind of my one thing that I do sort of, you know, I guess my one criticism of this team. They're really good at finding the power position and where they want to go ahead and hang out. But then they spend so much time in this one spot that they, you know, they get to end game, they place really well, but it's not with the eliminations that they need to keep up with some of the other teams in the lobby, right? We know that this squad is very capable at finding eliminations. I think they just need to kind of give up their positioning a little bit and focus more on finding their eliminations. Now, today, it might be a little bit easier when you got a Moors in hand, but you mentioned it, no place. That means that one singular sniper bullet is going to go ahead and knock Echo. He's thankfully got the self-revive in the back pocket. This is going to cause him to have to try and get away from here and maybe make this rotation. They do have the helicopter, though, so might be able to make it happen for free.
I don't want to fly with none on. Still got a deployable buy. Yeah.
You just straight up door dashed plates and lost Prodigy in 2 seconds. Jace on the opposing end of that. I feel like he went for a jump and might have gotten sniped, and that is just the risk that you have to realize is very possible to happen.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's kind of one of those things you can't let happen. It's just, you know, sure, you get the plates being brought to you, but you have to stay alive. In the gulag, though, we have Levi taking on noobs. I mentioned it earlier. This could be a new thing. Ooh, okay. The thermobaric grenade will land at the right moment, take down noobs. Levi making their way back into the game off of a very solid Gulag win. Back on over to Bbreadman, Joe, and Jace. See Bread doing a little bit of a shoulder there, a peek on the outside. Somebody has their angle, though. Can he hit the quick scope? It's going to be really tough, I think, to hit it from this angle.
At least he was able to peek long enough to find information up. He was like, there's two at that angle. You can see the buyback in the distance. Jace opens it up with a knock onto a Biffle. So Jace and Jowo immediately start full sending the next building with Bbreadman angry.
I like that. The PRDs come on out. Jace hits the roof. They're trying to pinch this from two different angles. You can see Joe trying to make his way through the building. Comes out on top, and it's in the midair. Okay, Brad. He is going to have a field day today, but the fight is not on over. Jace has been taken out. The self-revive coming on through. Armor break in from Brad. You're seeing some tech-techs come in up over the top. Jace will be able to get revived. This team pushing on in, though. They're trying to use these smokes for some cover, but they are not ready for a Bbreadman with thermals in hand. Jace gets full eliminated.
New squad, too. That's going to be Jackal. So how are we going to be able to get him back? Well, we immediately pop that buy thanks to Jowo there to pull him back. Now, we've got 20 seconds left. And we're going to have to make that rotation in. Jace hits that call, kid top dealers. We've got to keep an eye on that, but we're immediately going to focus on gearing up for that next rotation and end game. And as soon as that bird's eye connects, look how many players are surrounding them on this rotation. Incoming mortar strikes. You have to be very weary about your pathing towards the next zone and securing a building.
I love that you brought that up too, because I completely forgot that we haven't been rocking bird's eye for so long. And a perk like that is going to give you all the information you need. A quick scope to the head on the Devo. Joa will be able to clean that one up. Is Bread now through the smoke? Maybe can you find another one? Make this rotation a little bit easier. You do have the zone, though, so you just have to watch your back. You saw when they popped that UAV, Birdseye gave them the information that there were at least two other teams nearby, and they've been able to make this push here on in. Dusamir getting taken out by Jace. As we come back on over, Jackal actually looks like potentially taken on out.
2 PDSs. I mean, we're sitting on 6 eliminations alone for Bbreadman, but still only with that 1.2x multiplier. And we are down into zone 5 and another knock for Bread. This might have been the rule set that Bread needed, because not only that, he's wall banging, he grabs a mirror, and they are just full sending this building now.
Oh, what's so funny about this, Tiff, is, you know, we of course had the Warzone Total Frenzy Blitz not too long ago, and it was actually Joe and Brett who got stuck on getting 20 eliminations in a match with snipers only.
What?
They got stuck on it, and here we are in a high-tier professional competitive lobby, and Bbreadman is making it his playground right now. I'm not surprised, but I'm just excited.
I am thoroughly excited. We're grabbing PRDs. We've got PDSs. We are setting ourselves up for endgame. They have plenty of cash. We've got reinforcement flares. And now we have edge of zone. And now with everyone looking to rotate in and a jailbreak to boot. Dude, he is literally going to turn to the sky and it's open season.
And I like what they have right now. They just are on this high ground on the edge of zone. They want to try and be able to get even more height, get more ultimate. Brett flies on in. Somebody is laying in wait, but there is a squad wipe. It's Dusamir who was hanging on out, hoping they can catch somebody while you catch Bbreadman. But thankfully, Joe and Foreign Jace not too far away. Absolutely slam Dusamir, get Bbreadman back on up. That'll give them the opportunity to start taking ultimate height.
Well, jumping on over, Super Evan. Empathy, ottereyes, empathy, no plates. And this rotation with like 20 people flying back in, we're booted up to 32 teams. That means if you fall here, a 1x on the multiplier, it is a clean swipe. If just however many kills you have in the world is stacked against them. Jackal, Brolic on the opposing end of that mountain, and Super Ev will fall in 30th place.
30th place, and if we still have 25 teams here as Circle 6 starts to close, I gotta imagine that jailbreak is definitely part of the reason why we have so many squads here. We're back on over. We just saw them eliminate Super Evan, but they are continuing the momentum. Huskerrs and Brawlix still on up. Looks like they're actually going to get a full squad wipe on SSD. So that's a huge W in the book for game number 1 as they stay alive. Jackal currently on 6. 20 teams still here in the running. You're just on of a little bit of multiplier to your name. You're trying to get at least top 5 if possible, as we are seeing a lot of teams start to trickle on out.
Gas mask, they're looking for it, but they need a PDS to the roof. But with 40 players left in the lobby, and with how small this zone is and minimal buildings, just even the smallest rotation is going to be very scary. There goes a knock straight onto Enxian. Hatsuka and Kitty probably nearby, but we need to keep eyes on that. We're full sending and just trying to find any bit of cover that we can. And we're not just in yet. This is about to be such an explosive endgame, Dandro.
It's gonna come down to the wire. A nail biter for sure. You see a gas mask does get picked up. Jackal now playing on the side here. Sees a couple of people flying on in as we get hit to the top 10. Smoke's coming on out. Hopefully gives them the cover that they need. You're seeing the bird's eye go to work here, giving them a solid idea. There's a team right on top of them. You got to be careful. If you're trying to come on in, takes a little bit of damage from that Molotov. A-okay. Top 7 now for this team. But it's going to be, I believe, a snipe from the right. And look who it is. None other than Bbreadman will find the opening knock onto that team. Levi, last one left alive, just playing in the gas right now. I definitely don't hate this play. Up at the top, getting in some solid shots there. Has a stim in the back pocket. Will only give him enough time to get the full elimination on the DJMAS. But will get taken out in 5th place. 1.8 multiplier.
Well, look who's on 13 eliminations, has all 3 members of their team alive, and is banking off that circle pull. Just 20 seconds left before it is finally there. But Bbreadman has no plates, no ticks left on the gas mask, and a lot of our teams were looking at playing stims and just hanging out of zone as long as possible to avoid the collapse. But when you're into that top 3 in a 3v2, time is of the essence. PDS down, and we're just going to play around it.
You saw that suppression mine, I think, scared them a little bit. The mortar strikes are now starting to come on in. They are into the top 3 here, Tiff. I believe it's a 3v2 currently, so you can't take any space for free. They've managed to find some solace here on the edge. They swing out into this alleyway, trying to be able to clear out building by building. And here you go. You're seeing some of those shots come on through. Are they on the 2nd floor? Are they down here? I believe they might be. On the floor, Joe gets taken out. Thankfully has a self-revive in hand. Bbreadman doing what you got to do in this scenario. It's drop the smokes, hold up with the thermal, look on through. And it looks like right now they've decided just to kind of reset. You only have a couple of these alleyways that you can play in.
3v3, down to the final 2, regardless of 1.8x multiplier. We're going to open things up with the lethal. Bbreadman looks to make a sweep and find a play, and it's EBATEZ, ZSMITH, DJMAS on that drop.
Look at this. Are they about to clutch this right now? They can!